There's negative gearing.
Yep.
Is there positive gearing?
Yes.
What is it?
So positive gearing is where the rent far exceeds the expenses to look after the property. So when you buy a property, you usually have things like the mortgage, right? Now, most people think, oh, I just need the rent to cover the mortgage. There's actually so many other expenses. You've got things like water rates, council rates, landlord's insurance, building insurance, property management fees. Plus my team we also have a buffer of $1,200 maintenance as well. We include in that. And you want to have your rent surpass that. So this hand here on my left hand, if for those watching on YouTube, is my expenses to look after it. And my right hand over here is the rent coming in from the tenant. I want it to be above that. Now, in Australia, people don't think that that's possible to achieve. It absolutely is possible to achieve, but it's just about buying the right asset at the right time. And that's what my team do, is just make sure that we plan the right asset, because there's no such thing as a dumb property. There's heaps and heaps and heaps of awesome properties out there. It's just about planning the right strategy at the right time for that particular person. So yeah, that's positive income.
Why do people in Australia don't believe that it is possible to have a positive gearing property?
Good question. Because the yields typically in Australia are quite low. That's why. So it's because we've also, from a mindset perspective, have been convinced to do the negative gearing thing. And so we are attracted to buying inside Melbourne and Sydney because that's where a high amount of our people move into Australia, right? People move to Australia, they primarily start with Sydney and Melbourne. But guess what? You know, a higher amount, we have more people moving interstate than what we do have coming into Australia.
Interesting.
So they come into Australia, they come into Sydney and Melbourne first, they suss it out, and then they're like, oh, hang on, there's all these other cool parts of Australia. Let's move out over there. So it's because of the lie of negative gearing that we've been sold to focus on. So people's focus is in that area. So of course, you're not like looking for other areas. The other big thing is because emotionally, we're like, oh, we've got to buy next door because I can see it and I can feel it and I can touch it. And usually where you live is usually not going to have like the higher yields. So that's another reason why. The higher positive gearing is harder to find. True. Absolutely true. But it's not impossible.